In a small mountain village lived a young man named Daniel. He was known for his kindness, honesty, and deep faith in God. Though he worked hard every day as a carpenter, life seemed to grow more difficult with each passing year. One season, a terrible drought struck the land. Crops failed, rivers dried up, and many families lost hope. Daniel's workshop became empty because no one could afford furniture or repairs. Day after day, he returned home with little or no money. His pantry grew emptier, and even his closest friends began telling him to give up. "Daniel," one neighbor said, "faith won't fill your table. You need to leave this village and look after yourself." Daniel smiled gently and replied, "I will work as long as I have strength, and I will trust God for what I cannot do." He has never abandoned his children. Every morning before sunrise, Daniel knelt beside his bed and prayed, "Lord, I don't understand why this is happening, but I know you see what I cannot. Give me strength to remain faithful." Days became weeks. Sometimes he ate only one small meal a day, yet he continued helping elderly neighbors repair broken roofs and doors without asking for payment. He believed that serving others was serving God. One afternoon, while returning from helping an old widow, Daniel noticed an injured traveler lying beside the road. Most people passed by, afraid of becoming involved, but Daniel stopped immediately. He carried the stranger to his humble home, cleaned his wounds, shared his last loaf of bread, and cared for him throughout the night. The next morning, the traveler recovered enough to speak. "Why would you help a stranger when you have so little yourself?" he asked. Daniel answered, "Because God has never stopped caring for me. How could I refuse to care for someone he placed in my path?" The traveler smiled, but said nothing more. Several days later, the stranger left quietly. A week passed. Then, something unexpected happened. A large group of wagons entered the village. At their head was the same traveler, but this time dressed as a wealthy merchant. The villagers were astonished. The merchant gathered everyone together and said, "While traveling through your village, I was injured. Many people ignored me, but one man showed me compassion when he himself had almost nothing." He pointed toward Daniel. This man's faith was not just words, it was lived through love. The merchant announced that he was opening a woodworking business in the region and wanted Daniel to manage it. He provided new tools, steady work, and enough resources to employ many struggling villagers. Soon, the entire village began to prosper. Families found jobs, children had food again, and hope returned where despair had once lived. One evening, as Daniel watched the sunset, a young boy asked him, "Were you ever afraid that God had forgotten you?" Daniel smiled and looked toward the sky. "Many times I didn't understand his timing, but I learned something precious. Faith doesn't mean you'll never face storms. Faith means trusting that God is already preparing your rescue, even when you cannot see it." The boy never forgot those words. Years later, whenever people asked how the village was restored, they spoke not only of the wealthy merchant, but of one man who refused to let hardship destroy his faith. Because in the end, it wasn't wealth that delivered Daniel first. It was faith. Moral: faith does not always remove the storm immediately, but it gives you the strength to endure it until God opens the way. Keep trusting Him, even when you cannot see the outcome. Faith will deliver you. Bible verse: "For we walk by faith, not by sight." 2 Coríntios 5:7.